How long will it take? At least 10 days. It might be. How long you know you'll never quit? I know. It's been months for me.
Hey, your brother. Just everything go well?
Sorry.
Well, yeah, this is that kind of town. Welcome back.
So Sue is your connection back there, Stephanie? Not yet. She'll be back there, giving you signals. In about 2 minutes, I'm waiting for the signal from the production engineer. We need one of those action things.
Are you able to do this when you participate in faith? HD card, okay, doesn't matter, I don't need it.
Guitar.
Did you find one? Yeah, and then I wrote
From many hearts, come inside, you don't have to hide, you're perfect as you are. You're already not alone, welcome home. God by many names, from many hearts. Come inside, you don't have to hide, you're perfect as you are. You're already not alone, welcome home. Lord, from many from many hearts, come inside, you don't have to hide, you're perfect as you are. You're already not alone, welcome home. God by many names, love from many hearts. Come inside, you don't have to hide, you're perfect as you are. You're already not alone, welcome home. Bill? What are you doing, Bill? Fixing the microphone. Oh, okay. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome home. Woo! Almost. Center for Spiritual Living, St. George. I'll get this about 11:55. Welcome you all here. So we're going to I'm going to play a song a friend of mine wrote. And I've been playing it for years. Actually, we had a band out in California called the Big Valley Band. And whenever a fight broke out in the bar or something, we would start singing this song. It really didn't do a lot of good. Actually, I sang this song one time. A fight broke out in the Unity Church in Greensboro. Didn't help much either. But you're welcome to stand up and get into it, please, because you're going to be singing along here in a minute. Please, everybody up. David wants to fight. Wait to get the song going. Hey, I don't care what side you say you're on. It won't mean a thing when you're gone. So come and sit a while and let that spirit smile. And we'll talk to the early rays of the morning sun. 'Cause I like you and you are my friend. And I hope this thing we got will never end. Yes, I like you and you are my friend. And I hope this thing we got will never end. Hey, I'm so glad to see your smiling face. And it's not some weird disgrace. You lose control for a while and let that spirit smile. And remember, hey, this ain't such a bad old place. And I like you and you are my friend. And I hope this thing we got will never end. Yes, I like you and you are my friend. And I hope this thing we got will never end. Let's get together and sing a friendly song. 'Cause folks like you and me should get along. Hey, I'm so glad to know you. This is how I show you. You're the reason I'm the singer of this song. 'Cause I like you and you are my friend. And I hope this thing we got will end. Yes, I like you and you are my friend. And I hope this thing we got will never end. Now this is where we get it. It changes a little bit. This is where we're all singing. Ready? Hey, we like you and you are our friend. And we know this thing we got will never end. Yes, we like you and you are our friend. And we know this thing we got will never end. All right, you got it now. Come on, one more time. Yes, we like you and you are our friend. And we know this thing we got will never end. Yes, we like you and you are our friend. And we know this thing we got will never end. Welcome.
Awesome, awesome. Check if you wouldn't you Minister needs a mic. Not really.
Let's give him one anyway.
Yeah. So good morning. I just wanted to yell. I'm just going to turn that thing on and you're like, what? It's Halloween already.
Are you on?
I don't know. Did we turn
The little
it on?
green light.
That's it. No, I'm not.
Ah!
I am turned on, but I'm not turned on, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
All right, good morning. So great to see you again. I don't know if you feel it, but it feels like it's been a long time since we've been here. I think it's just a time thing, because I know it's only been 4 weeks, but it is so good and refreshing to see each one of you. Welcome. And this is a time I do like to welcome anyone that is here for the first time. We're not here to embarrass you, but if you just raise your hand, we'd like to present you with a gift. If there's anybody brand new, if not, everybody's just welcome back. Yes, ma'am. Good morning. How are you? Would you mind sharing your name?
Diane Reyes.
Diane, welcome. Welcome, welcome. And Christopher McCardle is coming over to you just to give you a little gift right behind you, so don't jump. No jump scares here. And that basically is a Science of Mind magazine, ma'am, and within the first few pages, there's a thing called What We Believe. So if you're not sure what we're doing here, that explains it really simply. Otherwise, just sit back and feel free to ask questions if you want, because we are a loving community, and this is what we do, yes? Yes. All right, so quick update, because I've already been asked, so this is not about me being ego, but I'm happy to share that my son completed what's called the Crucible, so officially he is a Marine. You wait, because so the Crucible is a 3-day, 48-hour, or 48-mile journey, and it's all physical and mental. They hardly eat, they hardly sleep, and he must, I'm not going to say he enjoyed himself, but he did say it was easier than he expected, so that's a good thing, because there's no way you're waking me up at 2 a.m. for a hike. That's all I can tell you. But, and even better news is we go this week to pick him up. He officially graduates Friday, so thank you. And he did say to share your thanks for all your prayers and support, and that he's hoping that he's still with us next in October, so he can come and be in person, because he says he misses that. Isn't that nice? He has been they do get to go to religious services on base, and the closest thing, New Thought-ish, is Christian Science, so he was finding himself there, and he bought a few books. He said just to kind of compare and keep his mind fresh, so I'm happy to know that this philosophy works for all ages, doesn't it? How many of us wish we had it when we were younger if you didn't?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So again, welcome. Thanks for your prayer and support. Now, if I remember correctly, we're going to move into what we call the Flames of Faith ceremony. I have to click and gong. Can you do me a favor? We're going to try this. Just click through.
Oh, sure.
Because I can't gong and click and talk at the same time. My mind might explode. Let's breathe together. Settling. There it is. We perform the Flames of Faith ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all things, all beings, come from the one great universal presence, which we like to call Spirit. The first light, is the unity candle, which represents the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. And breathe. We light a candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light a candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light a candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light a candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light a candle for Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light a candle for Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light a candle for Islam, honoring the path of compliance with the will of God as the highest calling. We light a candle acknowledging centers for spiritual living and all forms of new thought, the metaphysical path of a personal relationship of healing through the practice of universal spiritual principle. We light the next candle for inclusivity, affirming that those are that are seeking a stronger knowing and understanding of divine love are welcome here. There is nothing outside of God. You are welcome here. And lastly, we light the healing candle and invite you to silently offer into the light the names of loved ones, knowing that they are now the perfect expression of Spirit's eternal wholeness and love. And let's affirm this by saying together, and so it is. Thank you.
We're going to continue to be relaxed. Sit back, hum along, and sing along. Then Bill's going to come up and share with us. We'll go back and finish the song. In the silence of this moment, there is peace. There is peace. In the silence of this moment, there is peace. There is peace. And I rest and trust and breathe and know. In the silence of this moment, there is peace. In the silence of this moment, there is peace. In the silence of this moment, there is peace. There is peace. And I rest and breathe and know. Thank you. In the silence of this moment, there is love. In the silence of this moment, there is love. There is love. In the silence of this moment, there is love.
Good morning. I invite you to join me in affirmative prayer. So as we gather today for this celebration of life and love, and the celebration of God, I know that God is in presence with us today. And I envision, and I know that that is true for me, just as it is true for everyone in this room. And what I see is I see God, that indwelling presence, in my chest, in my heart, and I see that expanding outward. And I see that expanding from the heart and the chest of everyone in this room, everyone in this spiritual community, everyone in this state, everyone in this world. And as that expands, they all meet. They all come together. And that is my demonstration of oneness as I see it in my mind right now. And I know that today's service is a blessing. I know that the music is uplifting and drives us to that pieces into peace that we are studying this month. And I know that Rev Joe's talk on oneness today is uplifting and drives us in the right direction.
And I rest and trust and breathe and know. In the silence of this moment, there's love. In the silence of this moment, There is love, there is love in the silence of this moment. There is love, there is love, and I rest and trust and breathe. We'll get this. In the silence of this moment, I feel love. In the silence of this moment, I am peace. I am peace. In the silence of this moment, I am peace. I am peace. And I rest and trust and breathe and know that in the stillness of this moment, I am peace, I am love, I am peace, I am love, I am.
We have Bill back up. Speak up, Bill. We're got a wire loose.
Would you
Please.
go over there and see if it's turned on?
It doesn't turn on and off. They don't have on and off switches.
Not them.
I typically do have a wire loose, and fortunately, I think I can be loud enough that we won't need this stinking microphone. Okay. For our reading today, I chose a article out of the Science of Mind magazine for this month. If you don't have it, I encourage you to pick it up and read it. I'm not going to read the whole thing in the interest of time, but I'm going to read the beginning and the end. And your homework assignment, should you accept it, is to read the middle. This is called "Let Peace Well Up and Flow" by Joanne E. McFadden. And she writes, "Contemplating this month's theme, Pieces to Pieces, I could feel myself dusting off the cobwebs in my brain to recall my ministerial class on Kabbalah beliefs. One idea that stuck with me was the teaching about shattering the divine light into shards, and how life is the process of bringing those shards back to one complete unity. My recollection is a hazy oversimplification of a 16th century mystical Jewish teaching. The Kabbalistic idea is that when God created the world and poured its light into the vessels prepared to house it, the vessels shattered into shards, and each shard encapsulated a part of that divine light. Kabbalah calls the shards kilapot and deems them a source of suffering because they separate the light from its source. Considering this through the lens of new thought, the message is clear. We are all made of the same thing, divine light. But our outer being disguises that divinity, and we live the illusion of separation. However, the spiritual path calls us to reveal it, to express it, and to recognize it in all of life. When we do this, we contribute to what Kabbalah calls tikkun olam, or the repairing of the world. In other words, when we connect to the spirit within, consistently and wholeheartedly, peace wells up and flows out from us. We begin to see others as self, and our actions reflect that clarity of vision. We live in peace. That was the beginning, and then the end. I believe that since mankind appeared on earth, the great invitation has been to shift our collective belief system of the masses from one of separation from our source and all other forms of life to one of unity by realizing and embodying our oneness with spirit. Yes, it's a tall order, but that's what our spiritual path calls us to do. According to Holmes, this is essential to finding peace within ourselves. In The Science of Mind, he wrote, until we awake to the fact that we are one in nature with God, we shall not find the way of life. Each piece of peace is vital. The work we do is critical. It's a sacred calling to surrender to the peace within ourselves and to do our part to contribute to the revelation of wholeness in all of life. When we connect with the peace within, we are able to understand and embrace life as a unified whole, seeing others as self. In The Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes also wrote, "The day will come and is rapidly approaching when the entire world will believe the truth because of the great neutralizing power that right thought is exercising on the race consciousness." I invite you to be an agent of change, to move this magnificent vision forward. Together we can shift the world's consciousness to one of unity and peace. Be blessed and do your piece for peace. And so it is. Thank you.
So it is.
Sometimes, gotta go in here. Sometimes I just feel like crawling under this piece of carpet over here and hiding. Then I remind myself that all is well. I'm not worried about tomorrow. Today I declare freedom from yesterday's mistakes of the past. Today all things are made brand new. Hey, don't it feel good to know all is well and unfolding as it should? All is well, all is well. My spirit is directing me right now. All is well, all is well. All is well and unfolding as it should. Okay. I can change my reality by changing my mind. Perfect peace, joy, and happiness is yours and it's mine. I am loved and so are you. Hey, don't it feel good to know all is well and unfolding as it should? All is well, all is well. My spirit is directing me right now. All is well, all is well. All is well and unfolding as it should. I am clothed by the Spirit, I am fed by the divine. I am one with all that is, my soul is filled from time. I am blessed and so are you. Say, don't it feel good to know all is well and unfolding as it should? All is well, all is well. Divine Spirit is directing me right now. All is well, all is well. All is well and unfolding as it should. Woo!
Thank you. Reverend Rachel can see that I was dying. I had to clap and make some noise.
Forgot the drum.
I know, I felt that. I was like, what do I do with these things? This energy is flowing. I felt good. Thank you, Alan. Let's give Alan a round of applause. Yes. Service without any music, I would have to say, would be probably a little boring.
Yes.
Right? So we appreciate musicians for controlling the energy of the moment. Let's breathe, right? Settle in right where we are. And so we're talking about waking up to oneness. Now last week we started talking about, as Bill reminded us, pieces into peace. And I started out with the idea of what is not peace. Sorry, it's the education in me. Anything else?
Not understanding the divinity of man.
Not understanding the divinity of man. Thank you.
Lying to each other.
Judgment, lying to each other. Yes. I know we can go on all day, but a couple more.
Jealousy.
Jealousy.
Criticism.
Excellent. Criticism. From the back row, the cheap seats. Thank you, practitioner Sid, for that. Yeah, so I think like most often in life, we tend to know what we don't want better than what we do. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
And really, Science of Mind, New Thought really is a constant remembering and shifting of what it is that we want and putting our lovely energy on that. Now, one of the, I'll just say, generalities of oneness that has been called is the ultimate human experience, a direct experience of God consciousness. Now, I don't know about you, that sounds amazing. It sounds like if I speak it, it's something that I'm never going to get to. Like, how do I get to a direct experience of God consciousness? And we kind of put it out there, right? We put it up here and say, well, one day I'll be able to be there. And so today's journey is going to be on a path to actually recognize that we've probably been there before, didn't even recognize it because we're too busy labeling what we think it should look like and focusing on what it doesn't look like. Excuse me. So I'm going to read to you a more lengthy, I'm not going to put it up there because it is a little longer, but this comes from Ernest Holmes, our founder, and it's a book called Practical Wisdom. And this is what he says about this idea of oneness. He says, there is one spirit incarnated in everyone, an immortal presence forever expanding everything, causing everything to grow. What a difference it would make in our human relations if we tried to sense the meaning of this divine incarnation in all people and adjust our viewpoint to the truth that they are all bound together in the unity of God. And he says that with an exclamation point. While we may think otherwise, behind all this vast array of life, there can be but one cause, one universal mind, one infinite spirit, flowing into, through, and becoming everything. We are so used to seeing ourselves as separate from each other that we suspect the very feeling and emotion that causes us to embrace everything in love. But the one person who loves the most will live the most. We meet each other only in fragments, only partially, when we refuse to open the whole avenue of our consciousness to the realization that there is but one living spirit in, over, and through all. If our human relations are to mean the most to us, we must sense that there is within everyone a divine presence manifesting itself in infinite variations. The same impulse, the same love and life, but never quite alike in any two persons. That sums up our entire religion right there, our faith. Now, I think he does a wonderful job of recognizing oneness in the confines of living as a human being. Because obviously, what we are surrounded with, we have come here to chosen a life of remembering. And so one of the ways I tend to look at breaking down the idea of oneness into chunks that I can digest is to look at it as the unity of all life. That's one of the things that Holmes says and many other great teachers, is that it's all happening in oneness, which means, and we tend to say all life, humanity, and animals, but we forget it's vibration that we're talking about here. So this metal object is still within what we would call consciousness of God. It's at a certain vibration, it's serving a point and purpose, and in essence, it would be incomplete without it, and yet if we ignored it long enough, the rules and the laws of science say it would eventually just disappear from our existence. Here's a thought that I learned in ministerial school that has always stuck with me, and the question was posed, why is it always the vacant house on the street erodes faster than the others? I never thought about it before, but it's true. Where there is a vacant house that's been sitting for a long time with no life, it must go back to there which it came from, because it's no longer needed. It's no longer being upheld. So the important part is to recognize again our house and make sure that we're living within it and we're taking care of it and we're being that. And recognizing, of course, that this idea of otherness, and we've done a great job all year this long of talking about othering, that this separation between individuals, we talk about it almost as if it's an illusion, right? Well, I know, Mary, you're sitting over there and there's really no space between us. But there's a purpose and a point to us experiencing what we call separation. And many have called it an illusion. I disagree with that, but I understand where they're coming from. Because to say it's an illusion means it doesn't really exist. But Mary, technically for me, is over there right now, so I have an understanding of who I am and who Mary is. But we can still recognize that Mary and I are on the same global, infinite, universal team. If that makes sense. I like to break down things in team ways, and I've used that before. Now this doesn't mean, though, that this idea of separation, of distance or whatnot, is not important. Okay? Recognizing that all is God, and God is mind, and God is intelligence, I don't believe God makes mistakes, do you? If we didn't need to be here and be experiencing this, why would we? So there must be a purpose. And yet where there's a purpose only lasts as long as it's needed. Kind of like the house. Once it's no longer needed, something shifts. And I believe that we are globally in this place of shifting from the understanding of purpose, and it's purposeful to be and recognize who you are individually. And yet now we're beginning to encompass with love and compassion that everybody else is not just, when we say reflection, it's almost like, well, you're just this dead image in the mirror. No. No, we're all part of this fracturing, you know what I mean, of light. Think of it like light coming through a prison, right? It just separates, but still it's all one, and it comes from, as Ernest Holmes likes to say, the one cause of all life. So as we grow our thinking, we will grow in understanding and be able to accept this idea of oneness, truly. Because the more we talk about it, the more we're going to get it. The more we practice it, the more we're going to get it. The more we shift from what we know is not oneness, but it's still a part of everything, right? This idea of separation helps us to understand, I'm here, she's there, you're there, we each have, we're all, it's like watching a movie, right? Well, right now you're all watching me do a dance. And everybody's experiencing it differently, yet we're all part of the same community. Kind of simplification of that, right? Yet we're doing this constantly and globally. Another way I like to break up this idea of oneness is to recognize universal mind and creative power. Now, I don't know about you, coming from a Christian faith, the word mind causes me to think of brain, so I want to make sure that we're shifting. We're not talking about this thing inside our skull when we talk about mind. We're talking about consciousness, we're talking about thought. And we know that, which science is now hardcore proving, that all is truly a vibration. And whether we call it consciousness or thought or whatever, it's all instantaneous, and it's all what they call non-local. It's here right now, but yet you can say that no matter where you are. So it's not just, I'm thinking my thought here, but that thought that I'm thinking, any one of you could be thinking at the same time, because it's open and it's available, what we call infinite. Everywhere present, all powerful, universal mind. Now, the reason I combine universal mind with creative power, because, well, let me ask you, why do you think I would bring in the word power when we're talking about mind and consciousness? It's powerful. What's the word specific?
Our thoughts.
Our thoughts, yes. Okay. Anybody want to add to that?
Seed, soil, plant.
Seed, soil, plant. I would ask you to go further. That's my show, not yours. So, and I was going to briefly use that. We use that all the time, which is perfect. Seed, soil, plant. We look at our thoughts as divine seeds, inspiration. Now, there's a gazillion. I like to say every thought has already been thunked. We're just grabbing a hold of it and identifying this one. Every word that I'm speaking has been spoken before, yet not through me and not through this way. And that which we call God or Spirit says what?
Yes.
Yes. Sometimes?
No, always.
Always. Always. No matter who we are, no matter what we think we are worthy of or not, just like the soil, whatever seed we put in the soil says, okay, I'll grow this for you. But are we aware of what we're doing there? So it's important to recognize, again, I know it's a foundational principle, but what we're thinking, what we're feeling, what we're being is where our power is. And we tend to, it sounds so simple, yet we don't use it as deeply, as encompassing as we could. So how, if God knows all, that means God knows my very thoughts. How is that possible? It's kind of a trick question. How is it possible that God right now knows what you're thinking? That Spirit probably already knows what you're going to say, or even just that thought that you just had was already there. How does it know?
One mind.
One mind. One. Right? So this is the idea of recognizing, wait, so you're tapped in, you're tapped in. Think of it like the internet. Right? There's one internet, and there technically is, like if you try to say what is the internet, it's technically no thing. It's a web. It is a literally bunch of connections that interconnect, and then you can hop on that connection, and that connection allows you to connect into everything else that has ever been connected. Very similar idea to what we're doing through God consciousness. Again, the internet doesn't sometimes, unfortunately, care what you're trying to look up. That's what we have other filters for, but right? But you can pull up anything from the most hateful and seedy and disgusting topics all the way to oneness and enlightenment. And we're going to understand it only to the level of that which we understand. Make sure good. So I like to say we're on a journey of remembering, but what came to me as I was creating this talk was we're on a journey of opening. Opening. Right? So this talk is called, I want to make sure I didn't get ahead of myself. Yes. Is called Waking Up to Oneness. Why do you think I chose that? It was given to me, but I can change it whenever I want. But I agreed to it. Waking up to oneness. I could have said finding oneness, discovering oneness. Why do you think I use that word, waking up to, or words?
It's already there.
Thank you, Marina. It's already here. We just have to wake up to it. Now the best thing, and this is the thing I don't know about you, but I have to get through my head is, I'm already worthy. My mind likes to jump. I like to level up. That's why I was so addicted to video games. It's just the next thing, what can I do? And then when you get to the next higher, I go to a new game, and I start over, and that's almost refreshing, even though I got all this to do, and then we just keep going. Instead, that's obviously exhausting. Yet, somehow the simple idea, just going, wait a minute, if I just clear myself consciously, find those points of resistance within myself, which is technically blocking the unity and the oneness that already is, that's what it's telling me. Pain is telling me I'm not in union with and one with all that is. Then we experience not oneness. But if I open to it, it's here. And I'll guarantee you everyone in this room has had those moments of it just freaking worked out perfect. Perfect. Sometimes it may be even for others, it happened outside of you, meaning like, I'm going to use an example, right? Vegas won the Stanley Cup a year ago or 2 years ago, and it was like everything, you couldn't have asked for a better game. It was perfect. It was awesome. And that room was full of oneness. It was pure joy that you couldn't bring us down for nothing. And sometimes that oneness was like the other day when I went out in my yard, and every now and then I get visited by, not butterflies, but dragonflies. And I call to them, and often they will show up. And I haven't really done that in a while. And my wife reminded me a couple weeks ago that she's like, oh, your friend's back. And it's usually a reddish-brown dragonfly. And so I was outside doing whatever, and all of a sudden, what I thought was a hummingbird came by, because it was that big. I've never seen a dragonfly bigger. Its body had to be 2 inches big and black, like dark, and big wings. I mean, the thing was huge. And it was just, I just watched it fly. here and there in my yard. And I was in complete oneness at that point. I wasn't focused on anything. I was just feeling peace. Because when we're tapped into oneness, you have to be in peace. If you're not feeling peaceful, then trust me, you're not experiencing oneness. Because when you're in and you're in that flow, you just are. And that moment took me away for a minute. So I know that we've all experienced it. We have to maybe loosen up on our definitions of what it is. All right. I'm trying to think. Are my pages out of order?
I shuffled them up for you.
No, that's why I got. See, I shuffled them out of order. That's okay though. All right, so this is one of our what we believes, and you know I like to put those in front of us. So this is what we call it one of our principles, and although it's spelled principles at the bottom, you can ignore that. What it says: we believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests, creates itself in and through all creation. Okay, not just us, but all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. Now, the reason he put that in there is because there are some faiths that believe God creates, but then God only has so much. Okay, so in that sense, it's God and its creation outside of God. We don't believe that. We believe it all as God. And it says, so the manifest or creative universe is the body of God. It is a logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. So in essence what he's saying is it's all God. We're individual centers in this divine mind, tapped into, right, this internet of anything, and we're just choosing to have, you know what, I'm going to log in from over here and see what this experience is like. And that's in essence of what we're doing. Now there's a second one that I want to share because it's more individual. He says, we believe in the incarnation of the Spirit in all people, and that all people are incarnations of the one Spirit. So what does that mean? Incarnation, fancy word for, what would you say the word incarnation?
Embodied.
Embodied. Rebirth, is that what I heard? Excellent. Okay. So just, in essence, I think of it as like you have a little baby and this lovely light that is God comes in and enlivens, gives life to that physical body, right? So we're all that. I'm going to date myself back in the days of the movie Cocoon. You ever saw that, right? But it's that what we call light. That light that is within each and every one of us, but it's in everything. Right? Think about it. When people have their near-death experiences, it's usually just pure white because it's all God. There's nothing to say that it's not God. Right? In other words, God in form. It's God being God. And we can experience that as we go into simple practices like meditation. So as we tune into this spirit of truth, of oneness, that we're each God, we're each, now everyone says, what, you are God? I'm not all of God in this moment, but I'm a center of God consciousness. I have access to all that God is, but only to what? I can only get it to the level of my own belief, understanding, okay? It's kind of like, again, you can go to any website, but if you know how to get through the website, if you don't have, maybe it has a password, you don't have the password, then that's where you stop. But as you become more enlightened, oh, I got a password. Now that opens me up to more things. Now it's all there for us. We kind of like to pretend we don't know, but we do know. So back to this idea of creative mind and power, because I did jump a little bit. I want to make sure that the idea of when we're waking up to things and we feel we're in oneness, okay, it's really easy to spot who's not, isn't it? And so have to remind myself quite often when I'm like, oh, that what am I doing? I'm separating myself from myself and this person, this other center of divine mind, and saying I'm better than them. And so if we're doing that, we're not on the right path, are we? Okay? So, excuse me. Viktor Frankl, who was a Jewish Austrian psychiatrist, but first he was taken away to the Holocaust camps. And he was one of the very few who survived. And if you've ever read his book, Man's Search for Meaning, concentration camps, and how he realized that if he held the hate in his heart for his captors like they hated him, he would die. And that wasn't his goal. He needed to survive, and he needed to be the hope for others to survive. And at one point, he told the guards, "You are more imprisoned than I am." Because he recognized that they were up here. They were just doing orders. They were just almost like puppets. They weren't even really alive. And he knew that. And some of them turned to, as in essence, I'll use the word befriend, and honor who he was, yet they still had to treat him in a certain way. And he did survive. And he made a tremendous difference, I believe, in the consciousness of this world with what he shared. And more importantly, who he became, which we can all do. You don't have to go through the most horrendous times like Auschwitz, but I've said it before, I think I said it last week, pain is pain, actually 2 weeks ago when I was talking about trauma. Pain is pain. We all go through our own hurt, but let us recognize, okay, that the more we shift away, the more we want to, the more we seek help, the more we move into oneness, because oneness is simply an idea, a warning sign on our dashboard to say, hey, we need some help. We're not experiencing this divine flow fully. So how does, or what does, oneness look like in terms of religious science or centers for spiritual living? And for me, it came to 2 words. It looks like love, and it looks like compassion. Love and compassion. Now, religious science, New Thought, tends to get a bad rap in the sense that they say we're all about mind, in essence, and rules. The science and the rules, the laws of this and the laws of that. But if you actually read The Science of Mind, he is very, and he makes it a poignant point, is, no, it's about love and law. Love, and he mentions love first, because love is, we're talking as love as a divine power, but we're talking about love as something that we, right now, can't even experience in the realm of oneness. Okay? And when I say we can't experience, I mean in this moment. Now, I do believe we can do our work, and that we can release things that are, we feel or not feel, that are, in essence, keeping the blinders on ourselves. Okay? And that's kind of what we're doing, not only by ourselves, but in this spiritual community. I want to hear something that piques my interest, that helps me view. When I walk out of here, I want to know that I'm better than when I walked in. And when I mean better than, I mean having a more expansive view of, even if it's 1/10 of a degree of understanding of what God is and how I can experience that, especially when I'm looking at others, especially when I'm looking at others that I tend to really not like in the way they're showing up. We get distracted by that. We forget that. There's a special word that I've shared, and I use it quite often, which is the word namaste. And I know my papers are way out of order, so I'm not doing that again. I thought I got them in order. So, namaste, which there's many different definitions of it. Well, basically it means the divine presence in me honors and recognizes the divine presence in you. Now, this is a practice that we can use to help us stay in oneness. I've been using it a lot. I shared last week that work has been challenging, and that hasn't changed. And so I've been practicing this a lot. Not only when I see people, right? Because it's about relationships. So I've kind of expanded it from just people to relationships in the sense of what's happening right now. Where is my focus? That's my relationship. My relationship to work, I need to work on. So I'm practicing namasteing my work. That yes, the divine is happening here. And until I believe I'm going to see it, I'm not, right? Because we're like, I'll believe that when I see it. How many of us have said that? Right? But that's opposite, isn't it? No, you'll see it when you believe it. And so if I go to everywhere, on the way from my car, which is a short trip into side, I say good morning. And I say good morning to my portable or my offices, and all that's going to happen, and I just good morning, and kind of like just whatever images help me walk in there with love and light and compassion in my heart. Because it does give me the opportunity to work with young peoples and brighten their day, especially with the particular students that are coming to my school. They may need that and because they don't have the support at home and so forth. And it's kind of, I'm going to use pour on me to not be the example simply because I'm letting somebody else dictate how I feel. Well, this shouldn't be happening, and this isn't who we say we are, and there's a million excuses, and I want to thank Marina because I was in a fit. It was a Friday, right? I was just having a moment. I let it get me. And she sent me this text, and it basically kind of said, like, here's a picture when you're not focusing. You're focusing on the problem, and you want to control this, and you're controlling this, and blaming this, and blaming this. And then the next picture was just is. Right? It was raining. That was the example. Oh, it's raining outside. Oh, now I can't do this. And now I can't do that. Blah, blah, blah. And then the next picture was simply like, oh, it's raining outside. Okay. Right? So I laughed because that's all I needed. I've practiced this a lot. Just, all right, you know what, Joe? You think you know better, but it's not your domain. It's not your circus. Let somebody else run that circus. Your job is to be who I am. And that's as a counselor. But also, I recognize that wherever I go, I bring this presence that I've learned, just like we all do. All right, so if I can find where I'm supposed to be on my notes, we will come to a conclusion. Let's see. All right, Ernest Holmes. He says, peace comes from a sense of union with the whole. Confusion comes from a sense of separation. So in that moment of work, I was clearly separated. Clearly. Because it was me, and I knew, and I'm an ego. Because I could do this better. And that caused this separation. And then something as simple as a text brought me back. I'm like, no, you're either part of the solution, part of the problem. What do you want to be? My solution was, let me get into it. I just took a couple deep breaths and chuckles. Thank you again, Marina. And that was it. We can shift that quick. It does take practice. But that shift brought me back into, I'm going to call it oneness. Now, it wasn't oneness of all life, but it was oneness in that moment for me, which then shifted me in a position to be on the receiving end of more. So like all things, we need to practice. And I came up with these 4 steps of assisting us to experience peace and oneness. The first one is simply to pause. Pause and ask myself or yourself, what is this story I'm telling myself? So at work, I'm saying this is wrong, they don't know what they're doing, the kids are being hurt, I can do better, that's my story. And that's causing separation, right? So how is it that I'm feeling, right? So the next step is power. I'm giving my power to what? What is, I try to simplify. What is it that? And what I came up with in that moment was, I thought it was all wrong. That's what I'm giving my power to. This is totally and utterly wrong and I don't want anything to do with it. So then what did I do? I paused and I prayed. I prayed in the sense of recognizing, and I have my go-to prayers on my desk or near my desk so I can pull them out and shift. You can put them on your phone. You can put it on a little sticky anywhere. That's going to help you go, okay. And it doesn't have to be, we're not talking affirmative 5-step prayers here, people. We're just you in a conversation with what you call God. That's the most important thing, this inner presence. And so I just let loose, right? Sometimes it's like, this is how I'm feeling. I'm really frustrated. And then, what do I want to feel? Let me now shift into that. And prayer puts us back into right-mindedness, as Ernest Holmes calls it. And not that there is a wrong-mindedness, but right meaning aligned with truth, and universal truth. And finally, practice. So now I pray this. Prayer is kind of an inside thing, although it's energy and it flows. But at the same time, if my behavior then is to go outside of my office and go, do you know what she said? Right after I got done praying, well, then I just canceled out that prayer. It's kind of like putting that seed in the ground and going, well, snatch that for later. Right? Just rip it out. And so I like simple things that end up with profound results. And so this is probably as simple as we can get. The sticking point may be taking enough time to honestly know what is the story that we're telling ourselves. All right? And do the best we can, right? There's my mantra again. Do the best we can with what we have and where we're at. And so on the ride home, it was completely, I just let loose of everything else, right? I got okay in the moment, realized this is better than where I was, And then when I had time alone, which is always helpful, just to drive home 10 minutes, but I left, as they say, I left it behind me. And passion. It was so much easier. And this is something that we can all do, yes?
Yes.
Excellent. All right, so let us bring our practice into use here. And this is an affirmation, and for everybody that anyone that doesn't know what an affirmation is we're affirming. What are we saying yes to? And so this is a simple and powerful tool, and that you can use your own. And I highly suggest, please make up your own. Sometimes when I'm sick, I don't remember who taught us that song, every little cell in my body is happy. And it's an affirmation, and I sing it. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Feels so good, feels so swell. Every little cell in my body is well. And now I'm in a good place. So I ignore what I'm feeling, and I shift. It's as something as simple as that. You didn't know I was going to sing today, did you? I didn't either, but hey, I did it. All right. So here's what I'm going to ask. We're going to do this twice. I'm going to ask us to stand, and I'm going to ask us first to just speak our affirmation together. So let's do that first. Join us at home. You can see. I'll give us a countdown on 3, and then we'll speak. And I'll read it one time through, make sure I wrote it correctly. The divine in me recognizes and honors the divine in you, the divine in all. Okay? 3, 2, 1.
The divine in me recognizes and honors the divine in you, the divine in all.
Now, what I'm going to ask you to do, if you're comfortable, is reach out and hold somebody's hand. And I'd like to, if we can, to try to connect the rows. Stephanie, you too. So the idea is that we're all one. We're going to do this in our community of oneness here. Now, what I'm going to ask is we take a collective breath first, and then once we exhale, we start. So let's breathe together. The divine
in me recognizes and honors the divine in you, the divine in all.
And so it is. So it is. You can release. Did you feel the difference? Yes. Absolutely. That's the power of oneness that is always available. And we can get to the point to where we don't have to hold anybody's hands physically because we realize we're already connected. Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Now what do we do?
Pray. The next thing.
Pray. Oh yeah, why do I forget to pray here? Let us pray. I do it online all the time. What are we praying? We are praying the recognition that in our hearts, in our minds, our spirit, all is aligned with this truth. That which we use as the word for God is all there is. Call it God, spirit, love, compassion, joy, laughter, beauty, power. Any one of those words doesn't touch or encompass that which, quote unquote, God really is. So we open ourselves to the fullness of God in this moment. I just know that I know. I know that I know and understand as the truth of who I am, the truth of what God is. And I allow that and identify and unify with that in my life right now. I know that when I am aligned with this truth, that there is no pain, that there are no thoughts of limitation, separation, judgment. It all goes away because it's not truth. It's a lower level thinking which at one point served a purpose, and yet now I realize I want, I deserve, I am more. I am love in action. I am compassion in expression. I am the light and the love of life itself, being blessed to give through my unique talents, abilities, mindset, personality to the rest of the world. I do this because this is who I am. I do this because I love others as I love myself. and recognize again that all come from this one great mind, power, energy, consciousness. And so I hold this energy and know that it is always here. I wake up to this energy. I am being this energy throughout the day. And when I put my head down at night, I am grateful for all the energy that I felt. And now I let my mind rest. And so it is.
So it is.
Right. Now we're going to recognize the law of prosperity and abundance, which is everywhere. So, in order to do this, I'm just going to share with you where we're heading, guys. And because you continue to show up, and because you continue to support this community with your time, talent, and tithe, just to remind you, starting next month, we're not only going to do this once, but twice. So we're now going to be meeting the second and fourth Sundays. I will still be coming in person. Yes, thank you. And that's just the next step. And because we move to that step, and thank you, Reverend Rachel, for being willing to, well, A, join us. And if you haven't met Reverend Rachel yet, please say hello to her afterwards. She has been officially hired on as our staff minister, which means, and I say this lovingly because she's currently volunteering, in essence, not being paid for her time and talent and tithe, with the consciousness that she knows as we grow, she will be. That's faith. She knows that there's nothing wasted, and what goes out comes back multiplied. So that being said, we are also in the beginning stages of looking for our own home.
Yay!
Okay? I don't know about you. I love this place, but we can do better. Yes?
Yes.
So we will be giving you, make sure you pay attention to our email updates, and Maria does a fabulous job on that. We're going to be holding some visioning sessions online. If you're not sure what that is, basically we're going to get together and just open up to oneness to see, help us point maybe where we could go, what it looks like, and we do this together, the power of one mind. And also, our next class will be coming out. I can tell you it's called The Complaint-Free World, and I'm almost locked in on a date. I believe it's going to start the third week of October. But again, as soon as I have that nailed down, we will let you know. That's a fun one, and I wanted to do something kind of fun that wasn't like 100% built into quote-unquote our spirituality, but it's a great practice, and I've read the book a couple times, and every time I do, I shift. It's kind of like reading books on gratitude. So, pay attention, and at this point, we're going to have Alan play some music. We do have our give offering bowl over to my right, your left. If you've given online already, that's okay. We do have the affirmation cards because we believe in the law of giving and receiving. So feel free to give and then get the affirmation card, practice it, use it, pass it along. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Is there anything else? I'm on point. No. So we will have Alan play for us now. Thank you. Feel free to make your offering. Thank you.
Oh, I can't help this. Turn the mic on, please. Go for it. Every little soul of my body is happy. Every little soul of my body is well. Every little soul of my body is happy. Every little soul of my body is well. Feels so good, feels so swell. Every little cell of my body is well. Feels so good, feels so swell. Every little cell of my body is well. Every little cell of my body is happy. Every little cell of my body is well. Every little cell of my body is happy. Every little cell of my body is well. Feels so good, feels so swell. Every little cell of my body is well. Feels so good, feels so swell. Every little cell of my body is well.
Woo! That was fun.
Yeah, that's
good.
good. I love it. I used to sing that to my kids when they were growing up.
Did you realize that? Yeah.
My daughter sings it to her kids.
Perfect. And holding an image, by the way, when you're doing those things, I saying affirmations, imagery is very powerful. So the first time I did this, believe it or not, I was playing ice hockey. I'm a goalie. And I was just, before the game, it just hit me. I'm like, I shouldn't even be playing. I felt like doo-doo. And I'm like, no, I don't. So I got out there, and the whole time, I was singing this song in my head. And then, if you don't know, like an ice hockey goalie, I got all these big pads on, and I was thinking myself like a knight, right? So my thing is like, whatever's inside this body, man, it's got it going on. And by the end of that, I felt amazing. Went home, slept, woke up, perfect. So it works. It works. Who's going to bring me the bowl? Thank you. The bowl. Our offering bowl of blessings. Reverend Rachel, would you like to bless the bowl?
Sure, I can bless the Lord.
I mean, you made it all the way from Las Vegas
I
today.
did, I'm blessed. Is the mic working?
Use this.
Okay.
And just so our spiritual practitioner Stephanie put a figurine of Ganesh, because she was telling us that they celebrate in India, Ganesh is one of their gods, and of helping us release and so forth. And so she thought she'd bring it to bless our offerings today. So thank you, Stephanie. All right. Let's focus all our love, energy, and compassion to this bowl.
So knowing that God is all there is, all knowing, all powerful, all present, knowing that the abundance of the universe is the abundance of God, knowing that all that is happening right here and right now is nature growing in sufficiency to feed all that needs to be fed. So in this knowingness, we are grateful. We know that we are of and from and in and as this that is universal energy. And in this bowl, and all of the online donations, and all of the substance that is coming to us continues to grow and generate more and more and more. And so that we are able to give to the community and give to CSL and give to each other. And as we give, we know there is no other consequence or cause but for us to receive. So in this knowing, we are very grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And together we affirm with, and so it is.
And so it is.
Yes, yes, yes.
Excellent. All right, with that, announcements? Bill's going to hand that off.
It's not gonna click.
I got it. I'll see.
Use this mic. Try not to pick that.
Is this thing on? Okay.
Mic check.
So, announcements. If any of you,
Oh. Powerful, Bill.
Yeah, it was.
Mute. I think you got me on high, so turn me off.
Mute the
Your
minutes.
voice is fine.
We can hear you fine.
Got it.
Okay.
yeah,
The people online. Now you can use that.
thank you. Okay.
There we go.
If anyone would like prayer after service, just ask any of the practitioners that are here with the fancy purple stoles on. We'd be happy to pray with you this afternoon or this morning, or so it will be afternoon. And but if in the future, if you would like prayer, you can go to our website and to the About page. There should be a picture of each of the practitioners there. Just click on that picture, send us an email, and we all pray for you. Okay, so that's kind of how that works. Next in-person will be October 13th, right here. When are we starting the second one?
That last week of that month.
Okay, all right, yeah, so the
27th
of October will be the first of the second
Yes.
services of the month. Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Really confusing.
I love it.
Thank you to everyone who brought school supplies for the Switchpoint donation drive. They're in that box. If you haven't gotten the chance to do that, do so. If you forgot, like I did, and you want to make arrangements to do that later, just talk to one of us on the service team, and we will try to find what way to do that. Or if you want to make a donation, a monetary donation, you can note that on the outside of one of these blue envelopes and give that to Charles before we go today, and that'll make it to their drive as well. And obviously, no Zoom conversation today. Coming up next week on the 15th, we have Eugene Holden, who's a practitioner. I guess he's in Philadelphia, in that area, in Pennsylvania. Longtime speaker with us. If you haven't seen him online, he's very powerful. Love him. And then some new person named Reverend Rachel Dilling on September 22nd. We'll be talking about Imagine Peace.
And just for clarity, that one is online.
That is online, yes. Yep. Both of these next two are online. Okay? And I am not going to sing this song, but I'll invite Alan back to do so.
Could I make one quick announcement?
Yep, of course.
I just want to thank the community. I just, 3.5 weeks off of a heart surgery, and I'm so grateful for all the prayers. It was an amazingly positive experience. I can't believe it. So thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. So I have another announcement. We are building a music service team. And Joy Singers, I will get to you. I just kind of got delayed in my actions last few months. But we're building up so we can take turns teching on the board. So we have two. We have Stephanie right now that stepped up, and I think Gwen has offered to step up here in the future. So what's going to happen is once we start meeting more often, we'll have a calendar and you can sign up. We're not going to throw you to the wolves. I'll work with you till we get it all figured out. Until you get it all figured out and you have some comfort level, and it'll just run really smooth. So if you're interested, let me know, and we'll work like with Stephanie. She comes in at 9:30, helps set up, so she's learning how all the wires and the cables go. So today was her first day on the board. We call that what? Turning the buttons. So it's all ready. She did a great job, thank you, and getting me through those songs. So anyway, if you'd like to step up, if you're interested in that, and if you want to sing with our Joy Singers, just get a hold of me, because I will be getting that going here pretty quick, folks. Thank you for your patience. So what's that mean? It's a new day. Stand up. It's a new day. Today is a new life. My way, the clouds, they are no match for me. I take my faith and fly, because I know that I am creating my own destiny. The past is gone, it has no power here. I'm a mighty force in spirit's atmosphere. So I choose to grow. I choose to thrive. This longing will not be denied. It's a new day. Today is a new life. My way, the clouds, they are no match for me. I take my faith and fly, because I know that I